when I became a promoter and started throwing parties, the parties didn't really get good until I took myself off the parties.
Wow.
Like when you start creating that vessel and that platform for people, like it really expands and goes to a whole new level when you're using that as you should to promote other artists. So that's why I very rarely play in Colorado. It's why I mean, maybe once in a billion years, I'll play like my own party. Although I am playing my own party on Saturday. I'm opening up a new pop-up club. Yeah, like my thing is like, the same thing came with the record label. It was like, if I want to see this thing grow and be this thing to be able to springboard artists and build, the Hot Boy thing is very calculated. There was a lot of steps that were about to happen in 2020 that I think were going to be very revolutionary for the industry just in general. And I was well on my way, at least I thought, to being able to accomplish those goals with the label. But a lot of it was trying to remove myself from the equation as much as possible, because when you're using it to push other people, what that does is not like the whole bullshit, the tide rises with all ships, or all ships rise.
Yeah.
What it actually does is it allows you to be underneath and associate and push these other artists in your market and in your sphere of influence. And as that grows, what that does is it makes everybody else bigger. It makes the ability to put on tours where these artists are associating with these artists, and they wouldn't have had that association before if they didn't have the umbrella to be under. And so, removing yourself from the equation is the most important part about that, because if it's just about you, you're isolating the ability for these artists to be collabing together. You're isolating these artists to be, it's like the artists are underneath you in some way, shape, or form. And so when I built like the label, I saw that the way to make it really successful was make it more about the brand and the party, as opposed to making it about option 4 or my personal career. Because in the end, the main thing is like, I really didn't, I got enough parties in Denver to sustain myself. I got enough, people that I look after here that I don't need, that gig money to pay my rent. So it was more along the lines of, how can I use that to sustain the artists that are using that to pay their rent or pay their bills, right? Wow. How can I use that to build a platform so that it becomes so strong and the brand becomes so loved that they feel like the artists are getting the proper shine and they're getting the proper attention that they deserve when you're throwing these parties, that it allows them to get bigger, because the bigger they get, the bigger the label gets, which will only in turn make, the ability to springboard more artists a lot easier, and create that culture around a brand, as opposed to, hey, this is my label and I'm releasing 17 times on it instead of putting out 17 other artists. Like, you got a choice there. And to me, it was like, I was very, especially after Lifeline kind of did what it did and became kind of like this very catchy cult record. I was like, I got to be very careful about releasing on the label from here on out. So the collab with Born Dirty was like one of those things we put out. We did it as a collab. I love Mika, and that was a really fun project. But it, out of 27 releases on the label, it was really important that 20 of those were not option 4 records.
I
didn't want to build a platform just so I would be able to release music. And the other thing is this: if I wasn't getting my music signed on other labels, then that doesn't validate the label either. Does that make sense? It's like, if I look at it in the same way as like the promoter mentality. If I'm promoting this party and I'm in charge of the booking and I'm just booking myself over and over and over again, that doesn't give me there's no checks and balances. There's no quality control. There's no, you know what I'm saying? And so it's more important for me to release on other record labels and get my art out that way than it would be to release on my own label, because there's going to be somebody that says, hey, this is not good enough. This isn't a fit. This isn't the right vibe. This isn't whatever. There's going to be somebody that's going to say, this is a dope record and I fucking love it. And they want to push it and promote it. Sweet. That works out great, because I've already got this vessel built that I'm promoting other artists on and trying to build these bridges where they don't exist.
Man, do I love Sherm in the booth. Oh, hey, I think you do too. Hope you enjoyed that piece of content. If you're looking for more, make sure to my YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any upcoming Sherm in the Booth interviews, live sets, new music, exclusive artist interviews, Sherm's Word, sub-pack reviews, and more. This is your one-stop shop for everything entertainment. Cheers.